Okay, it's about 7:45 on January 1, 2024. I just spent an hour or so ago going through the entire NGC 550-600 series again because I had forgotten where I had left off yesterday. What we're going to be looking at tonight is the NGC 600-649 series, and I hope that isn't going to be a duplication either. But some of the images I took, it wasn't not an interesting thing about it is the 550-600 series doesn't really have a lot of very interesting studies in it. I'm hoping that we'll get surprised by some of the 600-649 series this same evening. There's our view of NGC 891. Very, very nice. And it's on the zenith overhead on a very decent night of seeing. Here we go. NGC 550 to 590, no, 600 to 659. NGC 600, right there on the screen, is the largest, brightest galaxy in Cetus. Magnitude 12.4, 3.7 by 3.6, face on spiral with a bar, lowercase c and a d, with a ring, 80 million light years distant. Unlikely we are going to get any sense of the angularity. It is at -7 and change degrees in declination. All we're seeing is just the fuzzy central region with some extensions of the core. NGC 601 is another galaxy in Cetus, but even further south, and we're not likely to see anything of it on the screen. It's magnitude 16.1, compact galaxy, 241 million light years distant at -12 degrees in declination. But there is another galaxy, a brighter one right there up on the screen. Some suggestion of a galaxy right there. That would be very surprising if that were actually NGC 601, but it's in the right location on the screen. What we have here is NGC 604, a nebula and triangle, located in Messier 33. It's 2 arc minutes and elliptical in shape, 2.8 million light years distant. Quite brilliant, by the way. I would say probably somewhere around magnitude 10. We're at plus almost 31 degrees in declination and 1 hour, 34 minutes and 32 seconds in right ascension, with the core of the galaxy located right up in the upper left-hand corner. One of the aspects of doing the westering scope rather than the scope oriented towards the east is we get a little further north. We're at NGC 605, a galaxy in Andromeda, brightish, magnitude 12.9, 2.2 by 1.1 arc minutes, oblately presented spiral of the lenticular class, 233 million light years distant. We're at plus 41 and change degrees in declination. However, I am not seeing that galaxy on the field. 2.2 by 1.1 should be somewhere in this region here. But we are not getting any aperture block, so I'm a bit surprised by that. NGC 606 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.4, 1.4 by 1.2 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase c. 445 million light years distant puts it larger than Messier 31. For a 13.54 magnitude galaxy, this is all I'm really making out on the screen, and that does not make much sense at all. So, questionable. NGC 608 is a galaxy in triangular, magnitude 13.2, smallish, 0.8 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase ab, 229 million light years distant. We're at plus 33, almost 34 degrees in declination. There's something right about there on the screen. We've skipped over quite a bit to see this galaxy here. And Most of it was nothing, but look at that view of NGC613, and guess where we're at? We're in Sculptor at minus 29.5 degrees in declination. What a beauty to have discovered. Magnitude 10.1, 5.2 by 4.3 arc minutes, and yet it almost looks as though it's edge-on presented. Spiral with a bar, lowercase bc, 67 million light years distant. We're at right ascension 134.18, declination minus 29.2507. I am blown away by the quality of that view at almost minus 30 degrees in declination. Wow, makes me want to go and take a look to see if we can't turn up NGC253. Let's do that next. Quite astonishing. Wow. And 253 is not even culminating. We must be at least 15 degrees past culmination. Look at that surprisingly beautiful view of Sculptor Galaxy NGC253. I won't cite any data on this, but it's very large. It's about the size of the moon, 26 arc minutes in length and about 6.5 in width. The galaxy is about magnitude 7.2. This is all data I'm pulling out of memory. I am blown away by the last two views, NGC613 and now NGC253 westering. This may be the last really good view we get of the Sculptor beauty. Well sculpted galaxy. Okay, from Deep South Sculptor all the way to further north NGC614 Galaxy and Triangulum. 614 is also 627, its magnitude 12.7, face arm 1.4 by 1.4, lenticular spiral class O, 234 million light years distant, puts it at about 100,000 light years in diameter. We are at plus 33, almost 34 degrees in declination, and that is a pretty tight view right there. This is a pretty fine galaxy, even though it's at minus 7 and almost a half degrees in declination. NGC615 Galaxy in Cetus, bright, magnitude 11.6, sub-oblate 3.4 by 1.4 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase b, 83 million light years distant. Doesn't make it very large, probably somewhere around 75,000 light years in diameter, but you can see those extensions going off. Boy, we are getting some nice views of some of these galaxies tonight with some really superb hints at nice detail. NGC615. This is surprising. NGC617 is another galaxy in Cetus. It's at almost minus 10 degrees, but it's magnitude 15. It's quite present on the screen. 0.5 by 0.5 arc minute spiral with a lowercase ab. 539 million light years distant means it's probably somewhere around 80,000 light years in diameter. So pretty bright for that distance. At that distance, Messier 31 would be twice as big, roughly, but about the same brightness. Maybe magnitude 14.5 to 15. We're at minus 10 degrees, NGC 617, quite present on the screen. Okay, we're kind of breaking a rule here. I went a little too far south. We're at NGC 619, a galaxy in Sculptor. It's at minus 36.5 degrees. I rarely go below minus 35. The galaxy is magnitude 13.5, 1.5 by 1 arc minute, spiral with a bar and lowercase b. 383 million light years distant, puts it about the size of Messier 31. Looking at the screen, it's just clouds rolling down there. You can actually see them moving across the screen, so I doubt we'll get any hints of the galaxy, but who knows. Okay, we're getting partial obstruction because we're at 42 and change degrees north. Declination for NGC 620, Galaxy in Andromeda. Magnitude 14, 1 by 0.9 arc minutes, considered a compact galaxy, 116 million light years distant. There's our view. You can see the galaxy, lots of stars. NGC621 is a galaxy in triangulum, brightish, magnitude 12.7, face on 1.9 by 1.8 arc-minute spiral with a bar of the lenticular class. 235 million light years distant. We're at plus 35.5 degrees in declination. And not really clearly getting a view of something that's that bright and that relatively large. Very peculiar. Maybe this right here, but that's too small. NGC622 is another galaxy in Cetus, brightish, magnitude 12.9, 1.8 by 1.3 arc-minutes, spiral with a bar and a lowercase bc, 233 million light years distant, means it's probably about 120,000 light years in diameter. We're at plus 39 minutes, 49 seconds, and right ascension 136.00. The galaxy is quite visible. NGC624 is another galaxy in Cetus. This one's at minus 10 degrees. It's magnitude 14, 1.5 by 1 arc-minute in size, spiral with a lowercase b, 262 million light years in diameter, puts it distance, puts it at about maybe 110 to 115,000 light years in diameter. The galaxy is quite present. It looks like it has a little bit of a halo around it on the screen. Not bad. Here we have a brightish galaxy, NGC628. It's in Pisces. It's magnitude 9.4 and very large, 10 by 9.4 arc-minutes, but it's close by, 35 million light years, which puts it at about 110,000 light years in diameter. It's a spiral of a lowercase c. We're at plus almost 16 degrees in declination, and you know this by another name. It is number 74 in the Messier catalog. We'll give this one a chance to develop some features. As the ghost image of NGC 630 passes, also known as Messier 74, we're now seeing NGC 631, a galaxy in Pisces, emerge. It's magnitude 13.3, 1.7 by 1.5 arc-minute sized elliptical, 253 million light years distant. Fairly large then. I would say it's probably somewhere around 120,000 light years in diameter for an elliptical. That's fairly, that is unusual. We're at almost 6 degrees in declination as we view NGC 631. You may have noticed we skipped a few. They were either too far north or too far south. So we'll push on to NGC 632 and see if that turns up. NGC 632 may very well have been a galaxy in the same field with 631. Both are in Pisces. This one's slightly brighter, magnitude 12.3, 1.5 by 1.2 arc-minutes, a lenticular spiral, 141 million light years distant. And once again, we're at about plus 6 degrees in declination. The galaxy is quite visible at the center of the screen. The question then becomes, where did its associate end up? And I'm seeing something up here, so that may very well be it, or off to the side. NGC 634 is another galaxy in triangulum, magnitude 13, 2.1 by 0.6 arc-minutes, so a nice aspect ratio, 218 million light years distant. We're at plus 35 and change degrees north declination. I do believe we're getting full aperture on this view, and it does have a nice semi-edge-on quality to its presentation. NGC 635 is another galaxy in Cetus, but fairly low, minus 23 degrees almost. Its magnitude 15.3, but smallish, 0.5 by 0.5 arc-minutes, so all of its light is compressed down to about 30 arc-seconds across. Spiral with a lowercase b, 614 million light years distant. To be that bright, it has to be a fairly mature galaxy with lots of stars, because it's probably only about 90,000 light years in diameter. Be interesting to run some numbers on this one. It's at minus 22, almost 23 degrees in declination. And I do believe I'm seeing it towards the middle of the screen, a faint small presence. Right where you expect to see it is NGC636, Galaxy in Cetus. Bright, magnitude 11.5, 2.8 by 2 arc minutes means it's probably somewhere around average surface brightness 13. An elliptical class 1, a mere 89 million light years distant, which puts it at probably 50 to 60,000 light years across. We're at minus 7.5 degrees in declination, but the galaxy is very luminous and present. NGC638, Galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.8, 0.8 by 0.5 arc minute spiral with a lowercase b, 156 million light years distant, probably about 70,000 light years in diameter. We're at plus 7.25 degrees in declination. The galaxy looks a little fainter than I would expect for magnitude 13.8, and its size 0.8 by 0.5. We're going to try our luck again in Sculptor. NGC639 is a galaxy, magnitude 14.1, 1 by 0.2 arc minute, edge on, 5:1 aspect ratio, 261 million light year distance spiral with a lowercase a. We are at minus 30 degrees. I do believe I'm seeing that galaxy. I don't think I have experienced a sky as transparent as the one tonight this far south. And that view of NGC 253 and another 600 series galaxy that we saw were just simply astonishing to me. NGC 640 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 15.7 by 0.5 arc minute, spiral, lowercase a, 334 million light years distant, puts it at about 75,000 light years in diameter. We are at minus 9.5 degrees roughly in declination. The galaxy is quite visible, even though it's magnitude 15 and at such a low sky position. Wow, what a fabulous night to the south. NGC 642 is another galaxy to the south in Sculptor. Magnitude 12.9, 2 by 1.1 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase c, 262 million light years distant means it's larger than Messier 31. 262 million light years at minus almost 30 degrees in declination. And it is quite visible. I can see it with my own two eyes. NGC 645 is a galaxy in Pisces, brightish, magnitude 12.6, but large, 2.6 by 1.2 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and lowercase b. 148 million light years distant, puts it at about maybe 120,000 light years in diameter. The galaxy is quite visible, although a little fainter than expected. It also seems to be giving a distended edge-on appearance, so very peculiar. We're at plus almost 6 degrees in declination. Wow, look how edgy on that one appears. Surprising. NGC 647 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14, largish for 14 magnitude, 1.5 by 1.1 arc minutes. Lenticular spiral, 569 million light years distant. This one blows me away. It is a mature lenticular spiral. It is probably some 225,000 light years in diameter. Magnitude 14. It's brighter than Messier 31 would appear at that distance, which probably would be around 1 magnitude fainter, and it's much larger. This is a rather extraordinary galaxy and should be looked into by anyone who wants to take that curiosity further. NGC 647. NGC 648 is another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14, oblately presented 1.1 by 0.5 arc minutes, lenticular spiral class O, 472 million light years distant, puts it at about 150,000 light years in diameter. Once again, another large, mature, lenticular galaxy. It's at minus almost 18 degrees in declination. and visible on the screen where you might expect to see it. NGC649 basically is the tail galaxy of the 600 to 649 series. Galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 15, 3:1 aspect ratio, 0.9 to 0.3 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, and 333 million light years distant. Puts it about the size of about 100,000 light years across. We're at -9 and change declination with a right ascension of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 7 seconds. Appears to be a brighter galaxy there, and this is the one we are specifying, NGC649. I'm going to call this a Carpe Noctem. We already had our socks knocked off by a 253 earlier. I'm thinking with the battery still at 3 bars after recharging, even though it's cold, I'm going to push forward with the 650 to 699 series at this point. So Carpe Noctem on the 600 to 649 series of the NGC catalog.